not what's on you. So if we there to show these young our sons and daughters their true value, they won't have to look out into the world and try to find out who they are and where their value lies. Because Daddy had already instructed them, showed them that they ain't caught up in the mess.
Miss Blue.
So, Kristen, what do you know about everything you heard today?
I knew this was coming. But I really feel like, to me, sitting here is awkward because we talk, as women, we talk about the same exact things. And it's like valuing ourselves. Why do women cheat? Women cheat because, you know, it's the same reasons as men. Like, they don't feel like they've been valued in a relationship. They don't feel like they're appreciated enough. And it's like, I think it's more of a communication thing, because if y'all are communicating, I mean, it would be sought, well, the right kind of communication.
Yes.
The kind of communication that will work for y'all relationship. It's different types of communication because everybody's tone is different. So, you know, the delivery is what really matters.
Agree.
Yes.
Agree.
Yes.
What have you learned today by sitting at the king's table as a woman? What have you learned?
I've learned that you have to, you know, you have to let your spouse be vulnerable. Like, men are not, you know, they're not always tough as they come off as. So these are grown men that are at this table, and they're talking about their feelings and talking about what they deal with from day to day. And just like how Mr. Gary said, when you want to come home, when they come home, they want a place of peace. It's not like, you know, it's not a fighting, you know, it's not a battle every time you come home. So we have to really take that into consideration, take their feelings into consideration too.
Amen,
Yeah.
Christian.
I want women to understand one thing, that you hold the key to that man's self-esteem. You can destroy it or build it up. If a man feel like he's got a woman that supports him, that respects him, and it's not in a way that he's a tyrant or he's a dictator, but if a man, he will square his shoulders back and go and take on the world for that woman, if he knows that this woman has my back and she's worthy of me standing up strong. Because sometimes we don't know, we don't have the answers. We as men don't have all the answers, contrary to popular belief, or what we want y'all to believe. We don't have the answers. A lot of times we out there winging it, trying to figure it out. But that's why I lean upon God, because I don't want to be winging it and trying to figure it out with my family in tow. Because I could be really putting them in a bad situation while I'm out here trying to figure it out. I'm making all kind of mistakes and bad moves with a family in tow. And they got to go through what I put them through because I'm too bullheaded. Like you heard women say, the joke about how men refuse to ask for directions. We'll drive around in circles all night. We can't refuse to ask for, I know where I'm going. I know where I'm going. She telling you, look, we can pass this place 20 times. You don't know where you're going, man. But shut up, I know where I'm going. No, I want to do things right the first time. I don't want to keep going around the same mountain for 40 years trying to figure it out. I want to go around there, get that lesson, and go on, move on to the next level with my family. I want them to understand that I'm not a tyrant. I'm not a dictator. I'm a man who knows that if everything goes sideways, it all falls back on my shoulders. So I want to make the right decision the first time. I don't want to drag y'all through the mud and make y'all suffer with me, because I don't want to suffer. I want your life to be the best. I want to live my best life. I want my family to live the best life. I want to do that. But a woman can really either make or break a man. And if he's trying to open up and be vulnerable, if she calls on he a punk or you soft, this, that, and the other, that's nothing that will make a man shut down quicker than that. Than to get rebuked when he trying to open up and be vulnerable. he's going to shut down, and it may take years. If he ever open back up again, it's going to take a while for him to do that and trust you. What's that thing? It's something you can build trust in 20 years, and one incident can destroy everything you've built for the past 20 years. So we got to be careful of the decision we make. We got to be careful about what we say to our spouse, because some things you can't take back. Some things cut deeper than you realize. And you'll be hemorrhaging and bleeding all your life. And something Kristen talked about was communication. I want to share something that happened in my marriage early on. Now before I got married, I was celibate. I was walking right before the Lord. I wasn't out having relations with anybody. So when I got married, you can imagine what was the first thing on my mind. I can legally get this need met in the eyes of God and be pleasing God. Not only pleasing God, we're gonna have the anointing on this thing. It's going down. God is blessing this. It's gonna be the best ever. So we're on our honeymoon, and my wife comes out with this lingerie on. Now, I'm looking past the lingerie because it's been a while before I've tasted the sweet nectar. You know what I'm saying? So it's been a while. So I'm looking at my wife, and I'm just looking at her beauty, and I'm just looking past it. But she took it.
Did you say beauty or booty?
Both. I was married to that, so it was both of them. So she took my response the wrong way, the way I wasn't putting it out there. She thought I wasn't attracted to her because I didn't respond to the lingerie. Now, 3 or 4 years into our marriage, there was a blockage there, and we didn't understand what it was. And then God revealed it to us down the road that night, she took that as me saying that I'm not attracted to her, when I was actually trying to reveal that I'm honoring you. I'm so in love with you that I want you. I'm not caught up in the lingerie. Maybe the next time the lingerie will mean more to me, but at this particular time, I want you as my wife. You're my spouse. We're going to consummate this thing. But the fact that we didn't communicate that, we went through this for about 3 or 4 years of not understanding what this blockage was, why we can't connect like we want to connect. And the whole time it was that incident, and we didn't talk about it. And if we'd have talked about it that night, we wouldn't have had to go 3 or 4 years not understanding and just missing the mark and not understanding each other and back and forth and bumping heads like that. So communication is so key. Communication is the key. If you don't talk about it, there's no way you can resolve issues. And there's always somebody, like I said, there's 2 people coming from 2 different backgrounds. You may see the same exact situation, but you may describe it differently than your spouse did. They may see it something like, man, I saw this, I saw it. He's like, I didn't see that, I saw this. But y'all saw the exact same thing, but because of your mindset and the inner workings and the processing of your mind, you may see two totally different things. But that's when communication is so key, so y'all can have an understanding, so y'all don't have to keep bumping heads because somebody didn't express what was going on. And that's another thing. When I remember just kind of sitting back. My wife, if something bothers her, she gonna tell you. But me thinking in the sake of keeping in the guise of keeping the peace, I'm gonna just sit on this. I'm gonna just swallow this. I ain't gonna even say nothing. But then when she come at me with what I ain't doing, I come at her like, hey, well, last week you didn't do this, She's like, that's old stuff. Why you bringing up old stuff? And I'm like, man, I played myself by not addressing that situation when it happened. So now I'm upset now, man. I said, okay, from now on, if something bothering me, I'm gonna address it, because all that does, if you don't address it, all it does from that point is set up bitterness and resentment in you, because you feel like your needs ain't being met, your needs ain't being respected. So you got to address these things, but address it in a constructive way, in a peaceful way, in a respectful way, not going off. Because when you start going off and raising your temper, the other person shuts down automatically. They ain't hearing nothing you saying. Y'all dealing with the same problem, because then it really gets swept up under the rug, and y'all don't deal with it. And then you deal, here it is again a month later, because y'all won't deal with the situation. So communication is the key. We got to communicate with one another and get those issues ironed out to where you can have a good, healthy relationship without somebody with bitterness set up in their heart or resentment, because that destroys a marriage. Bitterness and resentment destroys a marriage.
Yeah, that's true. I just wanted to say, that's the difference. You know, some men and women think totally different, because like you were saying, I think she probably was focused on the outfit, and you was focused on the way the way she looked, and and we see things differently like that, you know, because I think women sometimes don't understand. Men don't care nothing about lingerie. We want what's in the lingerie, you know. And so it's communication and understanding each other. You know, men got to understand women just like women have to understand men and how we think.
I mean, to anybody young that's watching, because I'm 26, this is a lot of pressure. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. So
a lot of people my age and younger get married, not expecting none of what y'all talking about. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So just like, you know, I want to touch back on what you were saying about, you know, I want to give my family the best thing I can. That's pretty much what, you know, that's pretty much how I think. I mean, I want to kind of be, I know it's going to take time, but I really want a career, because it's just like, the last thing I want to do is come home and tell my wife, and I lost my job. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Or, you know, have a peace of mind to know not to go off on my boss. You know what I'm saying? Because what do you look like as a provider going home saying, I lost my job because I got into it with someone, so it worked?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You look stupid. So at the same time, at this age, when you think about stuff like that, you know, you just think like, well, I'm going to get it regardless. If I got to get a job at work. But when you think about stability, you know, it's a lot of pressure to come along with that. You know what I'm saying? That's what kind of scares a lot of men away from marriage, which why they cheat, because stuff goes so good for so long. You can't leave a woman on for so long. After that, if you're not gonna marry, you just not gonna marry, and she gonna find somebody who's gonna marry, and you end up going to the next person.
Yeah.
And two, I want to say, our parents didn't have a playbook, and we don't have a playbook. So we are learning on the fly. We're learning on the job, and we gonna make mistakes. It all depends on what you do after you make that mistake. Are you man enough to admit your mistakes?
Yeah.
Or man enough to admit your wrongs? You know, some things you can't control. You know, what if your job closed down? That had nothing to do with you, you know.
Right.
So things gonna happen. It's just how you pick up, you know, how you get back up on your feet.
And that spouse plays a major role in that.
Right.
Now you coming home with bad news, you don't need it. The last thing you need is somebody jumping down your throat with both feet.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You need to, hey, baby, hey, whatever we got to do, we gonna make this thing work. We gonna work it together. We in this together. You ain't by yourself. That makes a man. That helps a man square them shoulders up, get back out there, and go back. Be like James Evans on Good Times. He was always out there.
Right. You want your wife support.
He get the rug smashed out from under him. He still going to Florida. He come on, baby. I lost my job. But James, we gonna make it.
Right.
We gonna make it. We got to eat oatmeal for 6 months. We gonna make it, baby. He square back. He back out there at a little pity-attic job trying to make it work. But that was an example set before us. That was one of very few TV shows that showed a man in a positive light.
Mm-hmm.
That was there taking, and you in the projects, taking care of your family, working at the car wash or whatever job you can find to provide for your family and protect you. James wasn't no joke. When he came to them kids, he ready to choke a stick and kill a brick by them kids.
Right.
And they needed that. And you can see that it was different than other shows that was out there at that particular time. But a lot of times we missed that. We didn't get that lesson. We didn't understand that. That was a good show, man.
They made it work in that 2-bedroom house,
That's
apartment.
Right. Keeping their head above water.
Yeah,
Making
yeah.
the way when they can. Tipping river and lay off. They had some good times.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what it's about, man.
Yeah.
We got to fight.